Hi, it's me, Sugar Cub, and I just wanted to share some art things today, just some art tips. Some people have wanted me to do this for a bit, so I wanted to help out. And today I wanted to talk about shapes, because body parts are all made out of shapes. So, a lot of the time, when people are drawing, I will see them draw something like, you've got your circle, which is still common, normal, don't worry about that shape, but then they'll draw this kind of shape where it's like a line, they'll start drawing circles, body, I think they also draw hips or something. They'll draw these sorts of shapes. And Nautica Williams has a video talking about the stiffness of this, and I'm just gonna quickly go over it in my own way. If you want to know more about stiffness, you could totally check out her video. But let's talk about this form. If I know that when I used this sort of generic base, I was really into anime, and that's sort of where I got this idea. Now, if you're into anime, maybe it's a good choice. I don't know. It never really helped me, but you know, I'm not the doorkeeper. I'm not the key master. So you know, I'm not gonna put my 2 cents on that. But I think that over time, I learned that this was a pretty crappy pose for me for more reasons than one, and one of them is the stiffness. And let's talk about that stiffness. You've got a pose that is really working against you. Let's break it down. So these circles, what are they meant to do? You know, they're helping you understand. I think what they're doing is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't use this method religiously, but I think what they're meant to do is help you learn how far apart everything is, or something, because honestly, I don't think it helps that much, which is why, like, when you're drawing, you start subconsciously putting it there without really asking if you even need it. So there's one thing. Another is just like the stiffness of the guidelines here. Like, this is your skeleton, and your skeleton is never going to be straight. You know, it's going to be more of an S shape almost, or a bend. If you do want to get a little better at drawing this torso, you could totally do a bunch of, I don't know what they're called, sandbags? Pillowcases? I don't know, but you could totally do a bunch of exercises with those, just like drawing those. I know there's a lot of tutorials online, but if you look into them, it'll really help you understand how the torso works. But just like in general, the lines are too stiff. They're circles that don't really need to be there. The head is a very generic shape that a lot of people make a very generic design on top of a lot of the time, from my understanding. But all of this could be changed, because characters are made of shapes, and you can change those shapes, and you can change the design of it. So if I was to improve this very generic model, instead of drawing it this way, I would still draw the circle of a head, but perhaps I'd like to change the shape in some way. You know, I know that Aaron Blaze uses the circle, and then he'll sort of start making a design on top of it here. So it's not a bad start. You can definitely use it, but you have to learn to play with that shape if you want. So we've got a new head shape that we've made. Then we might want to actually start with, instead of making an outline, maybe doing some of this, the fleshed out versions of the body. I don't see why with the neck you would need to start with a stick, but then maybe you do want to use some of the previous guidelines. So you give yourself a body. You work with this the pillowcase method, or the, I don't know what it's called. Is it a sandbag? Is it? I don't know. Okay, but you work with that. You know, you get some of that in there. Cool. Just trying to even it out here. Then the legs have a mass, so perhaps here's the hips. They're kind of angled like that because of the angle of the body. It's a little turned to the side, and then you might want to just keep going with that shape, or maybe you'll change it later, because like I think this is more boyish of a shape, so maybe there would be less shin. Yeah. But here we are, and then we'd want to add arms. Now, I don't know what the best method is. I never claim to be the best at this, but I do want to show y'all how I do things. I think these arms are a little too long, but this is the kind of pencil I can't erase, so there's that. But already you can kind of see that there's more of a flow to this drawing than that one. There's a bit more flow, and that's mostly, like, if you really wanted to use these guidelines, I don't use them because they just confuse me, but if you're in the habit of using them, if we broke this down, if we broke this shape down, and I don't have a red pen, so I'm going to use this red marker, but if we broke the shape down, then the shoulders are in a sort of arc, then the hips are in another arc, and then the spine is in an S shape almost, and then you can keep going down with that S shape until you get to the floor, and then you can follow that on either side. You know, the arms themselves are kind of a curvature, and you know, you can really get away with a lot of curves because the curves are meant to help you with the dynamics of it. They're not the actual bones, like this, which I think is trying to replicate the bones. But it's actually more the curvature, and you can get away with that because that's sort of how the muscles work. So if you can start with just moving away from these stiff lines to a more curved shape, that's a great improvement right there. Now, let's keep working on top of this and working off of this sort of, so we've got this generic design, and now we want to go into more of the shapes, right? So here you got a perfectly good shape, I would say. Just like use the sandbag pillowcase method for the torso. Just look at, I don't know, I think Aaron Blaze has some videos about how to draw the head. I don't know, but you know, you could totally look up different methods of that. But now I really want to get into more shapely things. And if you're more of a person who draws anime or realistic, then perhaps this could help you learn how to draw more cartoonized things. And this really is a method for more cartoony, indie animation, kind of art. I work in the animation field, so I can only think of those. Comics could be another one, but I think that the method that I've learned is that for that I'm working on animations, and that's sort of how I'm adjusting my own style. I have a lot of art styles as well, and it's good to have more art styles. Never think that just because your style's changing, that's a bad thing. You can't keep a style. It's great, you know. And honestly, it doesn't mean that your old style needs to go away. Just document it. You know, you've already drawn it on paper. You could probably recreate it in time. And at some point, you'll have multiple styles, and it'll be cool. Now that we've got the posture down and the way to draw the guidelines, let's talk about shapes. Now this is kind of a more traditional shape right here of the body, of the human body. You know, I think you'd see this in something more Disney-esque. You'd see this in more anime maybe, but I don't think that that's necessarily true either. But let's talk about how you can get away from this and start breaking some rules and breaking some shapes down to different ones. So the shape that we were working with before was circle, neck, sandbag, body. Don't even worry about it, draw it however, I don't care. Then you've got legs, sort of how I draw, well not really, but I don't really draw this kind of body type, or style type, I don't know. Yeah, you've got your body, you've got a body going on here. Cool, awesome. Now we are going to break this down and make some different shapes of the body. And I'm gonna use my characters as an example, because all of my characters are a little bit different in their designs. And I'm gonna do some that you haven't seen in my animation, so that'll be fun. Or maybe you have, but not in these designs. So we're moving away from the shape of the head in this one. And so we've got this half oval, except it's very elongated. This has helped me with this character's design, so that's why it is like that. You just want to simplify your character enough that it's better for you. He's hunched over a lot of the time, I forgot. Okay, you're gonna see now what happens when I try and erase. Yeah, it doesn't happen, but whatever, it's fine. But you've got, this is my character's design, is that they have the head, their back is bent, or like they're hunched over, and because of that, their body itself looks a little bit like that. They're a bit shy, so their hands are always like towards inside of their body, and they're holding their hands. And then they have like kind of like a little hip thing here, so get away from the monotony of straight legs. So he's got a hip thing, and then he's got legs, or he's got feet. So this is June. I love him. He's my baby. Crap, I don't know how I drew the hair, because I always change the hair design. So there we go. There's the boy. There, oh my god, I keep moving that. Okay, so there's the boy. He's definitely a bit different from this old design, and that's because you've got this half moon elongated shape. Then you've got a body that follows the sandbag method almost, except it's very tiny at the bottom. And it's tiny normally, but he's also bent over, so it's even smaller for me. Then you've got legs. You're kind of working with the flow of this. You could probably make it go straight down, but it's not as interesting as giving a little edge to the hip and then going down and making some little feet. Awesome. So we've got a new design that we've moved away from that and made a new design out of it. Now, let's do a different character. I've got this character named Sister, and her head is very much so like almost an oval, but I think it's more of like an octagon. Oval's easier, but octagon is more what her shape really is. So there's her face. There's her face shape. She's got like very mischievous eyes that are gonna steal your soul, quite literally. And then whatever, the little details don't worry about right now. I shouldn't worry about right now. But so here's her face. Then her neck, I've changed her. So we've changed her head. We're changing her neck now. June doesn't really have a neck here, but she's got a lot of a neck. She's got a really long, thin neck. I hope it puts you on edge. So that's what we've got here. And then even with her sandbag body, we've changed the shape of that. And we're making almost a triangle shape, but not quite. Maybe a little bit. So we've got this triangle-ish shape here, and then with the neck that we've put off here, we make shoulders. We can make shoulders there. But finding the torso, and then continuing off with this sort of action line and making the rest of her body. And that's kind of what it looks like, but actually the shin, I don't worry about the shin too much for this because it's covered by a dress, and that's sort of how it would look in the full thing. And she's got a few head things coming off, little teardrops. She's got a headband. She's got ears too. But there's another shape that I've just made from this design to this one. And so let's review again. Shape of the head has changed into an octagon. The shape of the neck has changed to a more very thin one that's kind of curving off into the shoulders. The shape of the sandbag has changed into a triangle instead. The arms, I think, are kind of the same. I draw arms very thinly for her, just shapes that already are moving. If you want to know how to draw them less stiffly, definitely do a lot of gesture drawings. 1-minute gesture drawings are the best. When I was taking this class in school, I would have to go to class every week where I drew 20 gesture drawings, 22-minute, 1-minute gesture drawings, every week, 20 of them. So if you can start there, that would be great. And then I think, yeah, I have one more shape to show off. I think I'll move this to the side so we can compare it later. Then I have Daisy. She's a different character. Her face shape is almost similar to Sisters, but not quite. So she's got that pentagon thing going on, except she's got a curvature here. She's got little eyeshadow things as well. She does not give a fuck about anything. She's like so cool. She's got a different nose as well. All of them have different noses. If you can see that as well. I've got like a line for June. I've got this sort of pointy nose for Sister. She's got a bit of like a cute button nose. I love it so much. Okay, but here we've got her face. Her hair's a little different from everyone else. I'm drawing her a little badly right now, sadly, but whatever. Then her body shape is sort of similar to Sister, except she's like really short. So her neck is the same. I think it's very similar to the regular neck here that I've drawn. Then I've got her wearing clothes. Her body's very short, so I'm trying to kind of give off that impression in the design. She's very sassy, so her body's a lot more like this, unlike the other ones who are June's posture is you know, hunched over, and then Sister's posture is like she's leaning in because that's sort of her nature. She's trying to get into other people's business. And then Daisy's a bit more laid back, so her body design or her action line is a bit more laid back like that. And there we have it. So you've already got a bunch of shapes. And you know, I think that making shapes might be hard. I don't know. I'm a boomer. I don't know. But like definitely you can see that just from changing this action line, you can definitely improve the overall quality of your drawing just by loosening it up, you know. You can definitely move away from this, you know. The body isn't a 2D shape like I'm trying to think. It's this is the shape of like paper cutout animation drawing kind of things. You're thinking when you're drawing it like this, you're really thinking that the shape of the body is 2-dimensional instead of 3-dimensional. And you have to move away from that if you want something more of a mass like this, because when you draw this, you kind of don't think about the whole of it. This is very one angled. So when you draw it like that, when you turn it to the other side, it looks very flat. While this, you can definitely tell that there's a mass to it. I hope you learned something today. I don't know if I was clear enough. I'm really trying to be here. But I hope that at the very least you've got some cute drawings, some cute reference art for how to draw my characters. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, if you want more, if you want clarifications, let me know in the comments. I'll answer your comments. I'm a good girl, okay? All right, well, I'll see you. Goodbye.